Today we're diving into a simple yet effective warm-up routine for your shoulders, hips, and spine. This session is a snippet from one of our online mobility classes where we use cars to prepare your body for movement. The more you practice these movements, the more effective they become at gauging your mobility. Remember, our membership offers hundreds of follow-along classes that range from targeted joint sessions to full body movements. Check out the description below for more details. Let's get started. Okay, so hopefully you have more energy than Mia, our lovely assistant. Hopefully you'll maybe have similar energy levels after this class if we do it right. So let's go ahead into a quadruped position. Okay, so we're gonna be on all fours. We're simply just gonna work on our cat-cow, segmented cat-cow. So start off with full flexion of your spine. Reach your spine as tall to the ceiling as you can. From there, slowly start to tilt your tailbone back and think about making a very slow and intentional wave in your spine where you start to feel extension, so all the muscles towards the back of the spine are activating, going through extension all the way up to your head. Look as high as you can and your spine is in full extension. From there, starting with the tailbone, slowly tuck your belly button into your spine, or think about belt buckle in the belly button in the spine, and work your way back up through flexion, trying to create as much space between the vertebrae as you can, finishing with your head looking between your knees. And then again, take that tailbone, stick it out. As you do that, try not to move through any pain. Just take note of how your spine feels and use this as a way to start to generate heat. So add more tension to the movement. So think about you're having to fight the resistance of the air. And then again, going through flexion, and even give yourself a light exhale as you go through, which will just encourage more of that motion. Okay, this will be our third rep. And go ahead and go strong. This is our last rep for the spine, so we want to make it worth it. Add a little bit more tension. I think about trying to split the floor apart with my hands and my knees. Embracing that contraction with more intensity. And last one, go ahead and finish up strong through flexion. Really take your time to try to separate each vertebrae as you can. Getting as tall as you can. Once you're at that full flexion, you can let yourself just drift to a neutral spine or more of a natural spine motion for yourself, as if you were just going to kind of relax and be here. Now, let's go into a hip car on the left. And now that we spend a lot of time moving the spine, this time we actually don't want to move the spine at all and nothing else. So we want to isolate just through our hip car on the left. Start off with externally rotating the left hip, bringing your knee to your chest. Imagine you have a tennis ball on the back, on the small of your back. Don't let that tennis ball roll over. Abduct that hip. As you do that, internally rotate as well. So lift your ankle higher than your knee and then trace a circle with your knee into extension. And then go ahead and park your knee right under your hip. Go ahead and reverse that now. Keep the ankle to the outside of the hip for as long as you can. Lead with the knee all the way through. Eventually that ankle is going to have to drop below the knee as you bring it back home to that original starting position. Go ahead and get another rep. This time give yourself a little bit more intensity. Keep the rest of your body still like a table, like a three-legged table, but you're pretty stable. And go ahead and reverse. Generate more tension. Good. Get yourself one more good rep. If you got any pops or cracks like me, that's par for the course. As long as there's no pain associated with that. You just accumulate a lot of mileage in your life fighting gravity, and sometimes you're going to get those little pops and cracks. Nothing wrong with that. Go ahead and switch sides. We're going to this time go on the right. Same thing, really focus on rotating first. So trying to externally rotate that hip, bring that knee up to as close to your chest as you can without involving your lower back. If I were to look at you from the side, I don't want any extra motion from the spine. And then lift the knee and the ankle up at the same time. The ankle is going to travel higher than the knee. And then you'll trace back into hip extension. Pull that knee right under your hip, and then reverse it. As we're doing this, right, we now have the opportunity to compare left and right. Finish that first rep. Okay, so just take note, you're just taking inventory. One of the good things about a warm-up is it should actually warm you up and start to get your body temperature up, increase blood flow to the peripheral parts of your body. But another thing it can do is also act as an assessment
to let you know maybe you need to train a little harder or a little less hard on that side, or just take into consideration any differences that you feel. That's why we use cars as a way to do this, because cars are just asking us to move the joint through its full range of motion without using anything else. Finishing this last rep we're on. So you really get an idea of the state of trainability with that joint. All right, now let's transition to our left shoulder. We're gonna start off with externally rotating left shoulder, crossing the midline of our body, and basically almost trying to shave the side of your face with your bicep. Keep the elbow straight, keep the arm as long as you can. Once you get right about to ear level, start to internally rotate, reach back, lift as high as you can, find extension. Hands gonna go by your side again, and then go ahead and reverse. Externally rotate, and when you rotate, you're rotating from the bicep, right? Below the bicep, closer to your ear. And then retrace that same path. Go ahead and hit yourself a second rep. Again, we're trying to isolate just the shoulder as much as we can, no extra motion. Both elbows should be straight. Shouldn't feel like your thoracic spine is leaning away from the ground. You just want it to be nice and parallel. If you didn't have your left arm, you would look still. Everything else should be completely like a statue. Go ahead and start that third rep. Add a little bit more tension. So in Kinstretch, we teach a lot about internal training, meaning that your body can act as resistance, basically moving through isometric tension. Now maybe it sounds like a little bit of an oxymoron because isometrics means you're not moving, but you're adding that tension to try and fight the moving part, in this case, the shoulder. Let's go ahead and transition to our right side. Start off again, squeeze, make a fist if you want, or just kind of contract that whole arm. Use that isometric tension to move through the air. Pain-free ranges of motion, no pinching. Internally rotate, reach back as high as you can. Try to get your hand as up towards the ceiling as you can as you reach back. And then hand's gonna park right by the side of the knee, and then go ahead and reverse. We also use external load here as well, which we're gonna do in just a little bit. But you really wanna master your internal loading before you add on external loading. Because if you add load, all it's gonna do is highlight what you have. So if you got a nice shoulder that moves well, good, load will highlight that. If you got a shoulder that's pinchy and has a lot of pain or just blockages or lack of range of motion, load's gonna highlight that as well. Get yourself one more good rep on that shoulder. Nice and slow, generating that heat. Also building that connection to the joint. The more connection you have, the more awareness you're going to bring into your training session, the more effective you can be at training that tissue.
Great job, everyone. I hope you feel more aware and connected to your shoulders, hips, and spine. Now that you're all warmed up, it's time to take your mobility to the next level by focusing on one joint at a time. To do that, check out this video designed to enhance strength and flexibility in your hips.